So you picked up an Instant Pot, but you're scared to use it, and it's still in the box. Or you're an Instant Pot pro, but you're still looking for a few hacks to level up your skills. No matter where you're at in your Instant Pot journey, this video is going to help you level up your skills and confidence while using it. Greetings and welcome to or welcome back to PB with Jay. Here on the channel, we focus on all things plant-based goodness. And today I want to do another little highlight on this very versatile device that is a mainstay in my kitchen because it helps me make whole food plant-based meals both ridiculously fast, but also cost effectively and efficiently. And it's not scary. I know this scares a lot of people. Don't be scared. It's like a little R2-D2. In fact, I have one of these that looks like an R2-D2 that's at our farm. It's very cute. Today, I've got 6 time-saving hacks to help you maximize your efficiency in the kitchen. Watch this video straight through the first time, but if you're looking for something specific, check out the chapters down below. Let's dive in. 0-minute steaming was literally a game changer for me because I always was worried about overcooking vegetables in the Instant Pot, which is something we've discussed here on the channel before. I didn't realize at first that you could set your Instant Pot to 0. That sounds insane, right? This is perfect for those more delicate vegetables like things like squash or broccoli or snow peas, where they're able to cook your vegetables perfectly without turning them into mush. So how does it cook if you just set it to 0? Well, that's because by the time it gets around to cooking, it's building up pressure inside of the Instant Pot, which is adding heat, adding pressure. It's actually already starting to cook whatever is inside of it. And at the moment where it gets to its full pressure, then it instantly starts depressurizing. And that is cooking at 0, which is just, it's like kind of like flash cooking. Or if you are to throw like your broccoli into your pasta water while you're cooking it for like a minute or two, similar to that. All you have to do when you're doing that is take the little trivet that comes with your pressure cooker, whether it's an Instant Pot or not, put it at the bottom, put a cup of water in there, and then put your vegetables on top, either in like a little steaming bowl, right on the trivet if they're big enough. And as soon as it beeps, do a quick release by pushing down a little button and letting the steam come out. If you let it naturally release, you might end up with your vegetable being overcooked. So it's important that you don't, go off and walk the dogs and disappear for a bit while this is happening because you need to be nearby. I haven't personally done this myself, but I know other people have done it to like flash cook fruits for things like compotes. It's also the kind of thing that if you wanted to blanch vegetables before you freeze them, that you could use this function for as well. One thing that I've started to do is what I would call speed soaking. So for those of you that like to cook your own beans and you like to soak them overnight, this is a good little hack if you forgot to do that. Now, I know what you're asking, can't I just cook my beans from perfectly dry inside the Instant Pot? You absolutely can. People that have digestion issues do find that pre-soaking the beans before cooking and then discarding that water can sometimes help with that. Another thing that people suggest is when you go to cook your beans is to throw some kombu into the water as well, and that can help with digestive issues too. So all you have to do is very similar to that 0 cooking method we just talked about, is put the amount of beans in that you want to cook, put more water than that inside. The general rule is like 3 inches above the beans in terms of water, and then put them on for 0 minutes. And what that's going to do is just do the equivalent of what it would be like if you were to soak them overnight. One of the reasons you might want to do this is if you're making like a chili or a soup where you want to put the beans in with the rest of your vegetables. If they're already cooked, they can get really mushy and break down a little bit too much, and they still don't have that bite you might be looking for. So by pre-cooking them or pre-soaking them this way, when you go to put them back in, the amount of time they need now, which is usually just like 6 to 8 minutes for cooking with, your soup or your stew or whatever it is you're making, that's the right amount of time. And your beans are still going to be intact. You're still going to have some texture to them. They're not just going to fall apart and be mushy. If you're actually looking for a quick guide for your Instant Pot in terms of how long to cook your grains, how long to cook your beans, we actually have those inside of our cookbook. It's very helpful. We have both beans and grains, and we have it both for the quick soaking and unsoaked methods. So depending on what you do. So doing it from scratch or using this pre-soak method. Got the guides in there. The QR code is on the screen, the email address on the screen. If you want to get a hard copy of this book, we ship them all around the world. Hook us up there. Hook yourself up there, I guess, is what I meant. The Instant Pot's ability to cook in large batches is what makes it perfect for people who love to do meal prep. Whether you want to make a big batch of oats or rice or barley or whatever grain you're enjoying, or beans, chickpeas, black beans, whatever it is. And if you want to do the quick soak method, you can do that as well. All these things freeze beautifully. I like to freeze them in either like a muffin tray, because that gives you like a half a cup to a cup amount, which is kind of like a perfect portion. Freeze them in the tray, pop them out and put them into like a freezer bag. The same works for grains or beans. As we talked about a little earlier, if you want to blanch your vegetables and freeze them, it perfectly does that as well in bulk. It doesn't take that much longer to cook double, triple, 4 times the amount of grains or beans. And once you've got them, you just have them on hand to use in a quick meal, in a salad, in a stew, in a stir fry, in a curry, you name it, you got it in your freezer or your fridge. And if you're like us and you like to use aquafaba as opposed to oil in a lot of your recipes, this thing makes the perfect aquafaba. I have got many videos I've done on this channel talking about how I make aquafaba in the Instant Pot. We actually have a guide to it in our cookbook as well. You already had the link that was on the screen. So if you are looking to have your own non-stop source of aquafaba that turns out perfectly every time, consider that. Pot-in-pot cooking, otherwise known as multi-cooking, is something that a lot of people with an Instant Pot consider to be a game changer. Now, there's a couple different ways to do it, but the main thing that it does is it allows you to cook multiple things inside the Instant Pot at the same time. So imagine you want to make curry and rice at the same time, but you don't want to do one on the stove. You just want to do it all inside of here. You can do that. So you could make your curry or your chili at the bottom, and then you could have a trivet on top where you're cooking rice inside of a bowl, or like an insert that you can get for these things. And then you can mix them afterwards. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I have not done a ton of pot-in-pot cooking in this yet. That's the kind of thing that I'm actually just starting to experiment with myself. So if you want a much more in-depth guide to that, where I actually show you some recipes and actual applications to do it, let me know in the comments down below, because it's something I'm probably gonna be working on anyway. The Instant Pot does come with a very small trivet, so I would definitely recommend getting a higher trivet that you can put inside of these things. They're not expensive at all. I'll put a link in the description down below that you can look around on Amazon to try to find some potential things that you could use to upgrade to allow you to do some pot-in-pot cooking. That said, some of the things that I have used it for myself is just if I want to do a smaller batch of something and I don't want to necessarily get that burn warning. Generally speaking, you need to have at least a cup of liquid no matter what you're cooking. But say I only actually want a cup of cooked quinoa. Normally I would put like a cup of quinoa, a cup of water, cook it for 1 minute. That makes a ton of quinoa. It makes like 3 or 4 cups worth, which is maybe too much. Maybe I don't want that much, even though I talked about batch cooking and I can just freeze it, put it in the fridge. But what's beautiful at that is what I will do is I'll put a cup of water in the bottom, I'll put my trivet in, and I'll put my liquid inside of just another bowl, like a ceramic bowl. Any oven-safe bowl will work just fine, and then cook it inside of there. I've actually started doing that with my morning oatmeal, just cooking it inside of a bowl inside, and it does a couple things. First of all, I don't need to clean the Instant Pot anymore after breakfast. My bowl is already ready to go. And if I'm a little bit late, if I'm walking the dogs, if I want to have an extra long workout, I don't have to worry about the liquid evaporating too much, because it's staying inside of that bowl and it's not right up against the elements at the bottom. So that's one of the reasons why pot-in-pot cooking for stuff like that is a game changer for me, even though I haven't mastered all of the elements of it. Keep in mind, if you're doing this, it's kind of considered a gentler cook. So you might need an extra minute or two if you're not cooking with things directly against the bottom, like your grains in particular. Let me know in the comments down below what you do for pot-in-pot cooking, if you've been experimenting with that at all. And if you're curious about us doing that video, let me know and I will get around to it. One thing I've been doing a lot more is using the Sauté function smartly. And what I mean by that is if you're going to do like a dump and go recipe inside of this thing, I highly recommend blooming your spices in advance, cooking your onion and that kind of stuff. I know a lot of you say, well, how can you bloom your spices if you're cooking without oil? I mean, that's an entirely different video. But honestly, heat is what blooms spices. It's not necessarily oil. Oil is like the carrier that helps with the heat. But if you want to bloom spices, just put it on the saute mode, put the spices in first thing with nothing else in there, just the dry heat. It'll bloom your spices. And then you can take them out, you can add your onion in, get that going. The only thing you want to keep in mind is that if you're cooking like, onion and garlic and stuff like that in here before you add everything else, make sure you deglaze the pot a little bit with a little bit of vegetable broth or water, and just make sure there's nothing stuck to the bottom because it might cause a burn warning if you don't do that. The other thing that the saute function for, which is great, is just if I want to quickly warm up like some peas or other frozen vegetables, I just throw them in there and just toss them around for a minute or two. The other thing that I like to use the saute function for is that a lot of times people put too much liquid inside of their Instant Pot meals. Generally speaking, if you're converting one of your regular recipes to an Instant Pot recipe, you could put about 20% less liquid because you're going to have liquid coming off of the vegetables or other things inside of it, and it's not going to evaporate the way it will in a pot on your stove because everything stays inside. So 20% less liquid. If you do have one of those instances where you have too much liquid, put the saute function on and let it steam off some of that extra liquid. Takes a couple extra minutes, but you're going to have more flavor that way because you're boiling some of that excess water off. Last but not least, I'd like to talk about the keep warm function on your Instant Pot or your pressure cooker, which can be friend or foe. It's great for keeping things like chili, soups, oatmeal at the right temperature until people get around to eating them. But keep in mind that it is keeping the burner going the entire time, even at a low setting. So if you leave it for too long, it can dry out or potentially even burn some foods. Particularly if you're doing grains in here, like oats or quinoa. What I like to do is I switch it over to turn the keep warm off in those instances. And then usually I'll fluff it, put the lid back on, and the steam inside of it and the temperature inside of it will keep it warm for quite a while, but it won't dry things out. One cool hack is you can use the keep warm function or even the saute at its lowest form to do things like proofing yeast or proofing dough. Some Instant Pots now have a proof function on side of them as one of the presets. The other thing that I've seen people do is they've used the yogurt setting as well to proof dough. It's a game changer for people that are doing things like sourdough, because the problem is at different times of the year, your house is different temperatures. So I don't know about you, but I'm always racing around to figure out what's the right room to put my sourdough starter in to rise it properly. I don't have to do that anymore. I do it in this thing. The trick though is making sure the lid isn't on all the way. It's slightly ajar because the danger is if it stays inside, it might get too hot. So you want to have a little, it's kind of like putting a towel over it as opposed to putting the jar on the lid, if that makes sense. Since I've been doing that, it's honestly helped me make the most consistent sourdough I've made in my entire life. I really hope you've enjoyed these quick hacks. Let us know in the comments down below if you have any quick hacks that you enjoy. And before we sign off, I'd like to give a quick hello to some of you who said hello to us in the comments down below. Aaron from El Sobrante, California, about 30 minutes from San Francisco. I hope I said the name of where you live properly. Terry from Australia. Monica from Gdansk, Deborah from the United Kingdom, Laura from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Good day to Sally from Australia. Good day is not a place. I think she just wanted me to say good day. Good day, Sally. That was not at all an Aussie accent. Sorry, I'll work on it. Judy from Coconut Creek, Florida. And Roseanne from Amherst, Ohio. If you'd like a shout out here on the channel, all you have to do is say hello to us in the comments down below. Let us know who you are, where you're watching from, and what's your experience with pressure cooking. And let us know, in addition to that pot in pot video I was talking about, I'm also kind of working away on unexpected things you can use this for. So if you want that video, let us also know in the comments down below. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so to get more videos like this. Hit that like button to let YouTube know to share with other people. And since you're still here, YouTube's got this next video queued up for you to watch next. Thanks.